Hello, Milwaukee Bucks fans. Welcome back to Bucks Latest, presented by FanArch.com. I'm your host, Dean Simon. And today, to start off the docket, we have some positive news coming out of Golden State as Mark Willard of 95.7 The Game, a San Francisco-based radio show, he said that the Golden State Warriors, the idea of them trading for one Giannis Antetokounmpo, it might be too far of a stretch now, and that he is completely out on Giannis to the Warriors. A positive wrinkle for the Milwaukee Bucks as the Giannis Antetokounmpo trade saga continues. Of course, Giannis to the Warriors, these rumors have been in the public NBA sphere for about a half decade now, probably 6 years or so. But now we have, of course, not coming directly from the organization, but a strong supporter of the organization saying that he is out on Giannis going to the Warriors. He said, quote, "It does not make sense at this time. My goal is never championship or bust. My goal is annual relevance. I want sports in the city to be awesome and fun all the time." And of course, as the Giannis trade saga continues, this is a very good news. And of course, this doesn't directly reflect the organization's values and what they think. But you would think that Willard's point is kind of counterintuitive to where the Warriors are as a franchise. Of course, the Milwaukee Bucks would elect to keep Giannis Antetokounmpo if they were completely able. But with the Warriors having an aging Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Jimmy Butler, Steph, he's 37 going into his aged 38 season in 2025-26, they're still gunning for a fifth championship in the Steph Curry, Draymond Green era. So one would think that Willard's views are a little bit counterintuitive, but you could see his point about annual relevance. He doesn't want to mortgage the entire future, treating guys like Kuminga, like Moody, like Brandon Pajemski, promising guys for a talent like Giannis who may only be around a little while. But then again, if you are the Warriors front office, if you're the Warriors GM Mike Dunleavy, you could view it as, like, it's not like Giannis wouldn't be around that long. It's not like Giannis is at the same age as these guys that are trying their best to compete for one last championship. Giannis, while it seems like he's been in the league for a lot longer than he has, he's only 30. Giannis Antetokounmpo still has a lot of career left. So I don't know if Mark Willard is completely accurate with this assessment that Giannis to the Warriors doesn't make sense for the timeline. But Giannis can still fit basically any timeline. He's one of those guys where, again, he's a veteran. He's made 7 straight All-NBA first teams. He's been in the league for a long time, but he's still at a young enough age where you throw him on any team and it feels like he fits age-wise in terms of his experience. Giannis is one of those guys that definitely could help a team like this, but very positive news. Maybe the Milwaukee Bucks will have one less team to worry about as potential trade suitors for Giannis Antetokounmpo come this offseason. Moving forward, we have some new updates on Bobby Portis, who has the opportunity to accept a $13.4 million player option this summer to stick around with the Bucks for at least one more year. But recent reports have indicated that Jim Owczarski of the Milwaukee Sentinel-Journal, he's said that Bobby Portis might be leaning towards acceptance of this player option when previously it was thought that Bobby Portis was not as good as gone, but he was slowly creeping towards the door because he had said that he needed to have conversations with the Bucks front office, get to a certain number in terms of salary, and that he wanted the Bucks front office to see his vision of where his career was going, and where he wanted to be, how much money he wanted to make, whether he wanted to compete or not, and his role. So it seemed basically like a pretty negative outlook that, it may as well be time to find more opportunity somewhere else. But Jim Owczarski is coming out and saying that he personally believes that in recent weeks, new developments have led him to think that Bobby Portis could return to the Bucks for one more year. And who knows, maybe this could be because something is going on. He knows something we don't in terms of Giannis's want in terms of coming back to the Milwaukee Bucks, whether he is going to kind of nullify those trade requests or whatever, or put those to bed. But maybe new developments have taken place where Bobby Portis knows that he'll have some sort of supporting cast, that the Bucks may be in a good position to compete next season. So it remains to be seen what Bobby Portis does, because I feel like the general consensus is that he may test his value. He may very well leave for another competitive situation because the Bucks seem to be flailing as a franchise right now. But again, you can't really predict these things. $13.4 million are on the table for one more season with the Bucks, and he's grown so tied to this franchise. He's become somewhat of an icon in recent years. Not really, but he's been an extremely serviceable player. Back-to-back second place finishes and sixth man of the year. He put up a great scoring year once again last season for the fourth year in a row. A little bit less efficient than in years past, but still 46% from the field, 36% from three. You're not really going to complain about that kind of output coming from your sixth man. So Bobby Portis possibly coming back to the Bucks in a surprising turn of events when it seemed like a lot of hope was lost. Bobby Portis could be making a return to Milwaukee for at least one more year. Moving forward, it seems as though VCU's Max Shulga has really stepped forward and shined as the Milwaukee Bucks' possible pick for the number 47 overall pick in the second round. He is basically their highest-ranked point guard, according to Fansided's Dalton Sell, and it's pretty interesting to think about Max Shulga because he does offer a lot of great qualities that could have him excel at the NBA level. Obviously, his incredible shooting stroke and his efficiency, the quickness of his release is something personally that I have been absolutely blown away by. He has a lot of potential at the next level as a ridiculous catch and shoot threat who also has shown previous that he can put the ball on the floor. He's got a strong frame. But one thing that specifically Fansided's Dalton Sell says that is a negative part of Shulga's game and something that the Bucks may look at as as sort of a negative is his lack of athleticism. No matter how much three-point shooting he can provide, just jump shooting and general offensive skill, it seems as though Sell believes that the Bucks should go with this pick in the direction of athleticism and that they need more athleticism on the roster, which is not really an arguable point. I mean, I certainly agree that more athleticism is needed, but a guy like Max Shulga, I feel like his shooting stroke, it's not obviously once in a lifetime, but when you got a guy like that sitting at number 47 on the board, and you know that he has a lightning quick release, he shoots it incredibly consistent, he's just flat out one of the best shooters in the country. It's going to be hard to steer away from a pick like that, but there are other guys like Mark Sears and AJ Hoggard that are still possibly going to be on the board as late second round picks, or guys that possibly go undrafted, which in the case of Mark Sears would be incredible because he's got plenty of the same qualities as the New York Knicks superstar, clutch player of the year winner Jalen Brunson. And he's a guy that the Milwaukee Bucks could definitely, I could see them taking with the number 47 overall pick. But Max Shulga would also be a great pick because he is a point guard prospect for the Bucks that actually has size. He's 6'5". He's got a pretty strong frame. He's not the bulkiest, but he can definitely handle himself. You could see him handling himself with a lot more ease at the NBA level than a guy like Mark Sears, than a guy like Hoggard. So Dalton Sell has Max Shulga as the highest ranked point guard, the most likely selection at the point guard position for the Milwaukee Bucks heading into the 2025 NBA draft. So that is also a pretty exciting development. And last but not least, we have some news coming out of New Orleans as Trey Murphy has ascended as possibly one of the Bucks' top trade targets, him along with the New Orleans Pelicans' Herb Jones, who is an all-defensive team selection, who has, not this past year because he was hurt, alongside Trey Murphy and the rest of the Pelicans roster. A guy like Herb Jones and Trey Murphy, they could be pretty great trade targets for the Milwaukee Bucks, but for Milwaukee, it's just a matter of who you have left on your roster if you did get Giannis to stay, because a move for Trey Murphy would be in an effort to convince Giannis that Milwaukee is a place to compete. We just brought you this new, fresh, young talent that just put up 21, 5, and 3.5 last year, and he's got incredible defensive potential. Last year was a down defensive year, but you could argue that it was because of time missed. It was because of his focus on the offensive end and scoring 21.2 points a game and shooting the deep ball consistently. But Trey Murphy specifically would be an incredible pickup for a guy like Giannis because he can play so many different roles. He can just shapeshift on offense from an incredible catch-and-shoot threat to a guy that can slash towards the rim, go up with incredible athleticism. He's got super long arms, just a long frame in general. Trey Murphy could be a guy for the Bucks to target. Again, it's just about who you would send out, who you would have on contract, because with Bobby Portis, if he were to accept that player option for $13.5 million, you could include Bobby Portis in a trade. You can include Kyle Kuzma in a trade if you wanted to package them both for a package of Trey Murphy and Herb Jones. And I think the biggest wrinkle in this is that you would have to give up draft capital, but the Bucks don't necessarily have control of a lot of their draft picks. So claiming guys like Trey Murphy, like Herb Jones, might be a little bit difficult. But you could convince the New Orleans Pelicans that, hey, we're going to give you Bobby Portis, we're going to give you Kyle Kuzma, and then you can eventually flip them for first or second round draft capital, whatever you want. Whatever you want to do with them is fine, but because Bobby Portis would likely want to go to a contender, Kyle Kuzma, maybe the same deal. You could convince the Pelicans, yeah, we're not going to give you draft capital directly, but you can certainly find a suitor for Bobby Portis in a sign and or a acquire and flip kind of situation where you get him and trade him immediately for draft capital. There would definitely be prospective suitors for a guy like Portis and maybe even a guy like Kuzma, even though he stunk it up in this past postseason. But anyways, that is going to be it for me today. I want to say thank you for watching. Bucks Latest presented by fanarts.com. If you would like to like and subscribe, turn on post notifications to follow along for this journey, please do, and I appreciate it. Go Bucks. See you next time.